Hello everyone, ARG back with some more Franchise Hockey Manager 9, and today, against all odds, we are in 1983, so the game has been a little bit unstable for me, but we managed to plunge through December of 1982, and here we are, January of 1983. Looks like it's going to be a fairly busy month here for the Whalers, and of course we are going to continue on our path to try to win 2 consecutive Stanley Cups. We are 5th in the conference right now. Probably partly thanks to not having Paul Coffey in the lineup all that much this season. This is his second 1 to 2 month injury of the season, so not doing too great over there regarding that. We are also without Glenn Anderson and Brent Sutter. Those two should come back somewhere during the month, so at least we're going to get some help in that regard. So the standings are pretty tight. We are 5th in the conference, but we are tied in points with Montreal, and we're only 1 point behind Buffalo, who are the division leader at this point. So, yeah, we should be... It should be interesting for sure. Let's just put it that way. We should fight for a spot as top of the division. Alright, so with all that being said, we are going to go ahead and get started here. We are facing the Toronto Maple Leafs first thing. Toronto is 11-18-5, and we have not played the Leafs so far this season, so let's take a look at their lineup. Right, so Peter Marsh is hurt, he's not going to play. Then John Anderson is suspended, he's not going to play. He is also on the trade block, as I saw, because of course, prior to coming live, I did take a quick look at the trading block, and he's the best player available. But I'm pretty good on left wing, so I'm not going to go for him. Alright, so they have Rob Allen and Mike Palmetier in net, Bruce Driver, Tom Laidlaw, Guy Lapointe, Joel Quenneville, Nyrop Wilson on D, Anderson, Bridgman, Lever, Shot, The Ball, Garner, McNabb, Nichols, Sittler, Wilson, Boutet, Butler, Lanny McDonald, Saganyuk, and Fusco up front. So they have a good old Bernie Nichols. Cool. Alright, well, let's see if we can beat the Leafs. Now, we got a new modem yet again, so I'm kind of trying to look at what I look like and everything. The stream looks alright, so we're gonna go ahead and go. Let's play the Leafs in Toronto, of course. Alright, so John Garrett is going to be in net for the Whalers, and for the Leafs, it's going to be Mike Palmetier, and we are going to say, go Whalers, go! And January doesn't start very well for us, a 5-4 loss against an inferior team. Oh god, they can say thanks to their goaltender, we outshot them 58-32, and we lost 5-4. Paul Garner was the first star of the game, he had 3 assists. Dave Poulin was the second star with 2 goals and an assist, and Daryl Sittler was the third star with a goal and an assist. Toronto opened up the scoring in the first, then Marian Stastny tied the game from Jay Wells and Dave Poulin, and then Toronto scored again. It was 2-1 Toronto after 1. So we had some face punching, Mel Bridgman and Mark Messier, Tom Laidlaw and Wilf Payment. Then Bo Berglund got a 5-minute major there. Not sure for interference. He might have hurt somebody. And in the second period, Dave Poulin scored from Rob Ramage and Darren Veitch. And then Dave Poulin again. That was his 10th from Gordy Roberts and Marian Stastny. 3-2 Hartford after 2. Then in the third period, the Leafs scored 3 goals in a row. They were up 5-3. Then Bernie Johnston scored from Mark Messier and Wilf Payment. It was 5-4 at that point, but there were only 21 seconds left to go in the game. We couldn't tie the game. It is a 5-4 loss here. Hey, Kel, what's up? It is a 5-4 loss here in Toronto. Oh, Bo Berglund got suspended, so we saw that he had a 5-minute major. Looks like he is going to be missing some time. Alright, Kel, today you might hear a lot of wind. It's super windy where I live, so you might be seeing a lot of that, or hearing a lot of that, I should say. Alright, let's take a look here, see what it says. Suspension for Bo Berglund, oh, 5 games. Yikes. Memorable night for Akan Lube, who used to be in the Weathers organization. A hat-trick here against the Jets. No one could stop Rigel Rustalainen for the Islanders. He had a hat-trick against Pittsburgh. And let's see how my owner feels. He's satisfied, try to keep a balance. Not expected to be serious next year. Fans are thrilled, no need to worry about my job. Alright, so we don't have a whole lot of time to feel sorry for that loss because we are in Buffalo. Now Buffalo is still the division leader, so we need a win here. Buffalo is 20-11-6. We are 2-2 against the Sabres this season. Oh, do I need to do something here? I don't think so. Yeah, I have players that can come in for Bo Berglund. Alright, so I'm going to go with Jim Martinson in net for that one. Goran Augusta in net for Buffalo. Come on, Weathers. We need a W here. Give it to me. Give it to me. A 5-4 win. There you go. Alright. We outshot Buffalo 39-29. Gordy Roberts was the first star of the game. He had 3 assists. Danny Gare was the second star with a goal and 3 assists. And Peter Stastny was the third star with 2 goals. So Buffalo scored the first goal of the game in the first period. They were up 1-0 after 1. Then they made it 2-0 in the second period. And then Dave Poulin scored from Tommy Samuelson and Ray Neufeld. Then Marian Stastny from Gordy Roberts and Rick Aduano, 2-2. But Buffalo scored 2 more goals. They were up 4-2 after 2. That didn't look too good for us. But we had a really good third period where we scored 3 unanswered goals. Wilf Payment scored from Gordy Roberts and Rob Ramage. Then Peter Stastny from Gordy Roberts and Rob Ramage. And then finally, Peter Stastny with a game-winning goal. That was his 20th of the season from Tommy Samuelson and Wilf Payment. 5-4, the final score. A nice Hartford win. So did you only made it to the start of the season with your Nordiques, or did you get to play a little bit? I haven't checked the score in a few hours, so I don't know if you talked to me there or not. Sorry if I missed it. Dave Babich is suspended with the Devils. He's gonna miss 1 game. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's gonna be rough for the first couple of years, probably, for you. Yeah, your defense is not very good. You might want to try to find some relief there. Alright, those players here are getting acclimated. So are you doing homework? Is that what you're doing right now? I'm keeping you company while you're doing homework. Oh, Al McInnes is being a little prankster there with the Kings. So apparently he's... Oh, that's good. So what are you up to then? Yeah, you're very responsible. Like my stepdaughter, she also is very responsible, so... Ah, gotcha. So... Oh, wait. Yeah, you're working... You're working in the movie theater, right? Or that's where you wanted to work. I'm sorry, I forgot. Ah, cool. Do you still like it? Alright, so we have a few players. Awesome. Not everybody gets to love their first job. I loved my first job too. I was a tour guide in a museum. But for a lot of people, their first job is in a fast food joint or something, and that's not very enjoyable. Awesome. Alright, so some players on the waivers. We have Dave Semenko. We have Tony Casolato, and we have Randy Holt. Yeah, dude, I just bought a new TV. I don't have money to waste on your promotion. Let's see. Dave Burrows with the Islanders got suspended. He's gonna miss a 7 game. Nah, that's not a real person. And even if it's a person, their soul is dead, so it doesn't count. But more than likely, it's a bot. Pierre Lacroix has a good game. He had 4 assists for the Nordiques against the Montreal Canadiens. All right, we have one more day off, and then we're going to be at home against the Vancouver Canucks. All right, Brad Maxwell extends his point streak to 13 games. He had an assist against the Blues, and that was 13 straight with an assist from. Dave Babich is back from suspension with the Devils. And suspension over for John Anderson with the Maple Leafs. Yeah, we decided to be just a tad not responsible with money. We broke the bank a little today, and we're upgrading our TV. So that we can do a little bit of online console gaming as well. My TV is old. I've had it for like 7 years. It's an old HD TV, and like you can't really play online on it because the refresh rate is ass. So today we decided to upgrade and finally get a 4K TV. So that happened. Remind me, I need to steal a kidney from my stepdaughter to sell it on the black market so that we can, make the payments on it. All right, so we are hosting the Vancouver Canucks. They are 20-12-8, so pretty good season for the Canucks. I think I mentioned that earlier. Like for the first time since I started that, they don't suck. We are 1-0-1 against the Canucks this season, so let's see if we can beat them. Beat a pretty good team. Of course, in my save, they still have Bill Derlago that you acquired for your Nordiques, so let's see how he does. Glenn Hanlon is going to be in net for the Canucks. John Garrett in net for the Waiters. And come on, Waiters. I want a win, and I shall get it. Oh yeah, 4-3, the victory on home ice against the Canucks. Shots were dead even at 36 apiece. Hits were even, giveaways pretty much even, takeaways pretty much even, face off. That was a very even game here. On SN, could be, maybe. Probably. I mean, how many John Garretts are there going to be, But I would have to look it up. I don't know. Oh, yeah, probably. John Garrett did play for the Canucks in his career in real life. So, yeah, that's probably him. All right, so, yeah, Rob Ramage was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Bill Derlago was the second star with 2 goals and an assist. And Mark Messier was the third star with a goal and an assist. 8,918 people in attendance for this game. Canucks scored first in the first period. They were up 1-0. Then in the second period, Marian Stastny scored his 10th from Mark Messier and Peter Stastny. Then Dave Poulin from Darren Veitch. And then Mark Messier from Gordy Roberts and Rob Ramage. 3-1 Hartford at that point. Then the Canucks scored. It was 3-2 after 2. In the third period, Canucks made it 3-3, but Rob Ramage scored the game-winning goal with 1:31 left to go in the third period from Matty Agman and Peter Stastny. A 4-3 victory. Peter Stastny is hurt, but it's a day-to-day injury, thankfully, and he can play with it, so we're good. I can tell because his name is not in red. Oh, he's not the only one that got hurt. Rick Vive in that same game got hurt. Look at that. Calf cramps, that's nothing. That's nothing. I get those in my sleep, and I go right back to sleep, so he should be fine. Like Rick Vive also, or Dennis Marouk had a good game. He had 2 goals and 4 assists against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yeah, they hurt. So sometimes I stretch really weird while I'm sleeping and I don't notice, and then I start having cramps in my calf, and those hurt throughout the rest of the day after that. It's bad. All right, so Bob Fickner, Perry Miller, and George Lyle are on waivers. Danny Garrick extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had a goal and an assist against the Canucks. Graham Nicholson in Boston is not suspended. And Régent Houle, as we know, is on the block from the Montreal Canadiens. I believe that's the second time we got that message. All right. Alright, so here's an interesting junction of our calendar. So we have a home and home against the Flyers, and then it's going to be followed up by a home and home against the Montreal Canadiens. So yeah, alright, so we're playing Philadelphia first at home. Flyers are 28, 8, and 5. That's good for first in the conference. So they have leapfrogged the Islanders at this point. However, we are 1-0 against the Flyers this season, so we are going to hope that we can beat them again. Oh, and that's going to be with Peter Stastny playing a lesser role in this game. So he's going to play hurt, but he's going to be on the third line with Randy Connewart and Ray Neufeld. So let's see if we can beat the Flyers with that. They have Pete Peters in it. We have John Garrett. And of course, go Waiters! Oh, not only did we beat the Flyers, but we shut them out. A 4-0 victory on home ice here. 41-28, the shots in our favor in that game. John Garrett, the first star of the game, 28 saves, the shutout, the W, all the fame. Wilf Payment was the second star with 2 assists, and Jay Wells was the third star with a goal and an assist. 9,458 people in attendance for the game. Matty Hagman opened up the scoring in the first. That was a power play goal from Darren Veitch and Mark Messier. Then Rick Aduono from Wilf Payment and Bernie Johnston. Then finally Jay Wells scored his 5th from Tommy Samuelson and Anton Stastny. 3-0 Hartford after 1. Nobody scored in the second, and then in the third, Tommy Samuelson scored from Jay Wells and Wilf Payment. 4-0 the final score. A nice game against a really good team. Pretty proud of that one. Brad Maxwell's point streak ended at 13 games. He was held scoreless against the Chicago Blackhawks, which means his assist streak also ended at 13 games. Guy Lafleur has produced 500 goals in his career, 2 goals and 2 assists against the Boston Bruins. And in that same game, Mats Naslund had 5 assists. That's indeed pretty good. And Detroit is offering us Keith Knight for Stuart Smith. I just don't think that he's going to develop, so I'm going to say no. Alright, so now that after we won at home against the Flyers, we're going to face them in Philadelphia. We're going to try and beat them in there as well. We are now 2-0 against the Flyers. Alright, so we're going to have John Garrett in net again. He had the shutout yesterday, so of course. And then Doug Soutart is going to be in net for the Flyers. Come on, Waiters, we can do it again. Oh, we did! 3-2 win on the road against the top team in the conference. So we are playing with the big boys now. Gone are the days where, you know, we would get massacred by the Habs every game we played against them. We can now beat the good teams too. We outshot them 44-25. Matty Hagman was the first star of the game. He had an assist. Brent Peterson was the second star with 2 goals, and Dave Poulin was the third star with a goal. Right, so Flyers scored twice in the first period, then Dave Poulin scored from Tommy Samuelson. It was 2-1 Philadelphia after one. Then in the second period, Mark Messier scored from Matty Agman and Wilf Payment, then Gordy Roberts on the power play from Bernie Johnston and Anton Stastny. It was 3-2 Hartford at that point. We had a fight between Ian Turnbull and Steve Thomas. Then in the third period, nobody scored. Keith Crowder and Mark Messier did punch each other in the face. And that was the end of the game, a 3-2 win. We are looking pretty good. Good night for Wayne Gretzky. 2 goals and 6 assists. Just an 8-point game for Wayne here. Just a normal Tuesday for him. Oh, it was a Monday, sorry. Just a normal Monday for him. Wow, that was against the Red Wings. 8-point game. All right, we have a day off, and then we're going to play a very important 2-game series against the Abs. I say very important because they are in the mix to come and steal division lead from us, so we need to win those games. Peter Stastny says he's ready. That's good, and Brent Sutter is getting better. So we are about to get reinforcements here. All right, so we are in Montreal. They are 23-14-5. That's good for 5th in the conference. We are 2-1-1 against the Abs. We kind of need that W here. Actually, we kind of need to win both, if I'm being honest. All right, so John Garrett in net for the Waiters. Pat Regan in net for Montreal. A go, Hartford go. Oh, we lost 7-4. We were outshot 38-32. Bob Gainey was the first star of the game. He had 4 assists. Guy Lafleur was the second star with 2 goals and 2 assists. And Guy Carbonneau was the third star with a goal and 2 assists. Marian Stastny opened up the scoring in the first from Anton Stastny and Peter Stastny. Ooh, the brothers reunited on the line there. 1-0 Hartford after one. 1-0 Hartford at that point. Montreal scored twice. 2-1 Montreal after one. The second period, Steve Thomas scored his first NHL game from Bernie Johnston and Dave Poulin, then Mark Messier from Wilf Payment and Rob Ramage, 3-2 Hartford, but Montreal tied the game, and then we took the lead again. Marian Stastny from Peter Stastny and Tommy Samuelson. It was 4-3 Hartford after 2. However, the wheels fell off the wagon in the third. We allowed 4 unanswered goals, and we lost 7-4. Bob Gainey has a good game. He had a 4-assist night, as we saw. Suspension over for Bo Berglund back in the lineup. Mike Fiedler is suspended in Winnipeg. He's going to miss 4 games. There was a trade between the Islanders and the Red Wings. Danny Bolduc for Kevin Foster. Not a big trade. All right, we have a day off, and then we're going to be playing Montreal at home in the second of that back-to-back. Gaston Gingras has been put on waivers by the Islanders. A night to remember for Pierre Lacroix with the Nordiques. He had a goal and 6 assists against Buffalo. Well, that's a nice little game there. A strong game for Ron Wilson in Toronto. He had 4 assists. Kevin McCarty is back from suspension for the Canucks, back in the lineup. Glenn Anderson almost ready. Brent Sutter almost ready. Right, we're going to go ahead and play the Abs again. Montreal is now 24-14-5. All right, and they are now the leader in our division, second in the conference. We need that one. Pat Regan and John Garrett in net again. Hopefully this time John Garrett is on top. Come on, Raiders. Don't let me down. Oh, they didn't. A 7-3 victory. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. So Hartford outshot Montreal 37-36 in that one. Rob Ramage was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Marian Stashny was the second star with 2 goals and an assist. And Dave Poulin was the third star with 2 goals and an assist. 9,743 people in attendance for the game. Mark Messier scored his 20th of the season. 6 seconds into the game from Matty Agman. We were already up 1-0, 6 seconds in. Then Rob Ramage scored his 5th from Anton Stashny and Matty Agman. And then Marian Stashny from Gordy Roberts and Dave Poulin. 3-0 Hartford here after 1. We had a fight between Rob Ramage and Mario Tremblay. And then in the second period, Marian Stashny made it 4-0 from Peter Stashny and Mark Messier. Then Montreal scored, and then we scored again. Dave Poulin from Marian Stashny and Rob Ramage. 5-1 Hartford after 2. Then in the third period, Montreal scored, made it 5-2. Then Dave Poulin scored his 15th unassisted. It was 6-2. Then Montreal scored, it was 6-3. And then we scored another goal. Anton Stashny from Rick Aduono and Bo Berglund. 7-3. The final score. Strong game for Brad Park in Boston. He had 4 assists against the Quebec Nordiques. Suspension for Harold Schneps. He is going to miss 1 game. Charlie Semer extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had 2 goals against the Islanders. Glenn Anderson almost ready. Brent Sutter almost ready. We have 1 more day off, and then we're going to be hosting the New Jersey Devils. Right, Glenn Anderson on the verge of returning. Brent Sutter does return. And then Barry Long in Montreal has been put on the block. Alright, so let's go ahead and take care of the injury list. So Sutter goes to the active roster. And we're going to go ahead and send down Steve Thomas. Alright, and I'm going to need a quick second. Alright, my bad. Not my bad, but, you know, I'm back. Alright, let's see. Devils are in town. Oof, it's rough in New Jersey. They are 8-29-8. That's dead last in the conference. We are 1-0 against them this season. Hopefully we can beat them again. That's definitely a game we cannot really afford to lose. All right, let's go ahead and play the Devils. Wayne Stevenson's going to be in net for the Devils. John Garrett in net for the Waiters. Who else, right? He's playing most of our games. Go, Waiters, go. 5-3 victory over the Devils. We outshot the Devils 39-35. Anton Stastny was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Auger was the second star with a goal. Matty Agman was the third star with 2 assists. 9,197 people in attendance for the game. Tapio Levo opened up the scoring in the first. That was his 10th of the season on the power play from Gordy Roberts and Bo Berglund. Then Peter Stastny scored from Mark Messier and Greg Teberge. And then Anton Stastny from Bo Berglund and Matty Agman. 3-0 Hartford after one. Right, then we had some face punching. Mark Messier and Barry Beck went at it. Then in the second period, the Devils scored twice. It was 3-2 Hartford after 2. We also had a fight between Wolf Payment and Ron Delorme. Then in the third period, the Devils did tie the game, but then Tapio Levo scored from Matty Agman and Anton Stastny. That would be the game-winning goal. And then shortly after, Greg Teberge scored from Marian Stastny and Randy Kennyworth. 5-3 the final score. Oh, Brent Sutter improves at right wing. All right. Looks like we have 3 days off before we play the Islanders. Hey, New York's Andreychuk is not suspended, so Dave Andreychuk not suspended with the Rangers. A strong night for Mark Howe, our former teammate. A goal and 4 assists against the North Stars, and Glenn Anderson is completely recovered. Hey, let's get Glenn Anderson back in the lineup. I'm gonna send back. I think I'm gonna send down Craig Laughlin, to be honest. I think I'm gonna keep Ray Neufeld. He's a little bit better. If he gets claimed, he gets claimed. It is what it is. Alright, 2 more days off before we play in New York. Suspension over for Schnips with the Canucks back in the lineup. Paul Coffey returns to practice. That's awesome. That means he's about 2 weeks away from coming back. And the Oilers are offering us Michael Wickstrom for Denis C. Oh dear God, you're not very good. We're going to say no to that. Alright, 1 more day off. And we are in Uniondale to face off against the Islanders. They are 29-10-8. That's good for 3rd in the conference. We are 1-0 against the Islanders. It was kind of a surprise 4-1 win that we had against them. I was pretty happy with that. Okay, alright, Islanders. They're tough in my save. John Garrett in net for us, Roland Melançon in net for the Islanders. That wouldn't surprise me if we lose that one. But we have a good team too. They're not the only ones with a good team. We won 4-3. Look at us taking on the mighty Islanders. We were outshot, however, 41-34. Gordy Roberts, first of the game, a goal and an assist. Brian Trottier, the second star with a goal and an assist. And Brent Sutter, the third star with an assist. Nobody scored in the first. Then in the second period, Gordy Roberts scored his 10th of the season on the power play from Anton Stastny and Peter Stastny. And then Anton Stastny from Rick Aduano and Gordy Roberts. 2-0 Hartford. Islanders scored, and then we scored again Darren Veitch from Randy Kennyworth and Matty Agman. 3-1 Hartford after 2. Then in the third period, Wilf Payment scored his 15th of the season from Mark Messier and Brent Sutter. It was 4-1. Then the Islanders scored twice. It looked like they might mount a comeback, but they ran out of juice and we won 4-3. All right, we have a day off, and then we're going to go all the way to LA to play against the Kings. Oh, wait, we have some news here. Rick Lanz extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had a goal against the Habs. There was no stopping Mats Naslund in that same game. He had 3 goals and an assist. And Brent Ashton extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had a goal against the Rangers. Wayne Gretzky extends his assist streak to 8 games. He had a goal and an assist against the Canucks. There was no stopping Craig Artsberg with Minnesota. He had a hat-trick against the Red Wings. Great night for Denis Savard with the Devils. He had 4 assists against Pittsburgh. And suspension over for Fiddler with the Jets. He is back in the lineup over there. Alright, we are now in LA to play the Kings. Oh, it's rough in LA. 9-28 and 8 is their record at this point. We are 1-0 against the Kings. It was a 6-0 victory, and it was in LA. And we are in LA again at the good old Forum. So let's see if we can beat them. I kind of miss, like, back in the day, like, you know, arena names were, you know, you had the 3 or 4 forums out there, a couple gardens, you know, a couple coliseums and everything. Now it's all the name of a company. It's boring as fuck. But back then it was like the Forum. But, you know, it wasn't the Montreal Forum. It was the LA Forum. But it was called the Forum nonetheless. Things have changed. John Garrett is going to be in net for the Whalers. Rick Wamsley is going to be in net for the Kings. And of course, Skill. It's all about the money, I know. I would know because I don't have any. Alright, go Whalers, go. Oh, a 5-2 win here in LA against the Kings. Oh, we outshot them 50-23. Marian Stastny was the first star of the game. He had a hat-trick. Matty Agman was the second star with 2 assists, and Darren Veitch was the third star with a goal and an assist. Let's see here. The Kings scored first in the first period. They were up 1-0. There was a fight between Bert Wilson and Wilf Payment. Then in the second period, Peter Stastny scored from Darren Veitch, and Mark Messier made it 1-1. Kings scored again. It was 2-1 Kings after 2, but we scored 4 unanswered goals in the third period, including a natural hat-trick by Marian Stastny. He scored his 3 goals in a row. So Marian Stastny scored his 15th from Gordy Roberts and Randy Coneyworth. Then, of course, it was him again from Matty Agman and Anton Stastny. And then Rick Aduano and Brent Sutter assisted on his hat-trick goal. Then finally, Darren Veitch completed the score in an empty net from Matty Agman and Glenn Anderson. We have a 5-2 victory over the Kings. Norm Dupont is on waivers from the Habs. Marian Stastny has a strong game. As we saw, he had a hat-trick. Al Seckert has a memorable game. He had 3 goals and an assist against the Sabres. And Cam Connor in St. Louis is suspended. He's going to miss 3 games. I also miss the good old days of franchise hockey manager when I was doing videos and that Sergei Fedorov was getting suspended every other game. Chicago wants to move Ted Bully. He's been put on the block there. Alright. And we are now in Minnesota to play against the North Stars. They also are having a pretty decent season. They are 25, 18, and 4. We are 1-1 against the North Stars this season. Let's beat them. John Garrett is going to be in net for us. John Davidson in net for the North Stars. We need another nice road victory here. And it's a tie, a 2-2 tie. Are you going for all the same players that I went for? Is that what you're doing? I'm just kidding with you. Alright, so a 2-2 tie for the Hartford Whalers over the Minnesota North Stars. We outshot them 52-30. Jean Potvin of Minnesota was the first star of the game. He had an assist. Glenn Anderson was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Dino Cicerelli was the third star with a goal. Alright, nobody scored in the first. Then in the second period, Glenn Anderson scored his 20th of the season from Gordy Roberts and Matty Agman. And then Matty Agman from Tapio Levo and Glenn Anderson. 2-0 Hartford after 2. Minnesota scored twice in the third. It was 2-2. And that's pretty much it. What are you giving up to get Charlie Simmer? Ronlo. Okay, not too bad. Just a goaltender. Dave Barrows is back from suspension with the Islanders. Brian Propp extends his point streak to 12 games. He had a goal and 2 assists against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Bernie Federico has a great game in St. Louis. He had a hat-trick against the Flames. Bill Derlago has a memorable game. 4 goals and 2 assists against the Oilers. Yeah, that's pretty good indeed. And Wayne Gretzky's assist streak ended at 8 games. He had a goal but no assists against the Canucks in that same game. Alright, we are in Chicago now to play against the Blackhawks. Blackhawks are also having a decent season. 27, 16, and 5 is their record. We are 1-0 against the Blackhawks. Let's beat them again, shall we? Jim Martinson in net for us. Tony Esposito in net for Chicago. Go Whalers, go! Oh, easy 8-1 win here. We outshot, actually we doubled in shot Chicago 42-21. Tommy Samuelson was the first star of the game. He had 3 assists. Brent Sutter was the second star with a goal and 2 assists. And Rob Ramage was the third star with a goal and an assist. We scored 4 times in the first period. Rob Ramage scored from Randy Coneyworth and Tapio Levo. Then Wilf Payman from Anton Stastny and Peter Stastny. Then Dave Pulish scored short-handed from Tommy Samuelson and Brent Sutter. And then Ricky Aduano from Bernie Johnston and Brent Sutter. 4-0 Hartford after 1. Then in the second period, Brent Sutter scored short-handed from Randy Coneyworth and Tommy Samuelson. Then Wilf Payman from Anton Stastny and Tommy Samuelson. It was already 6-0. Then Chicago scored. It was 6-1 after 2. And we added 2 more goals in the third period. Greg Teberge scored on the power play from Matty Agman and Darren Veitch. And then Matty Agman scored his 15th from Mark Messier and Rob Ramage. It was an 8-1 victory. Great night for Danny Gare. He had a hat-trick against the Jets. And now we have 3 days off before we host the Quebec Nordiques. We have 2 games left on the calendar. This went fast. What did I do differently? I don't know. John Anderson extends his goal streak to 5 games in Toronto. He had a goal against Pittsburgh. Another day off. Bill Derlago keeps fans on their feet all night. He had a hat-trick against the Red Wings. Brian Propp extends his point streak to 13 games with a goal against the Jets. And memorable game for Pekka Rotokallio. He had a hat-trick against the North Stars. Yeah, he is. Hopefully he gets that good for you as well. Yeah, but I know you acquired him, so hopefully he develops just as good for you. Yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look at him and see what's what. Yeah, 24, 4-star player. Oh yeah, he has some great stats. Yeah, he had a really good season 2 years ago. He got hurt last year, so he's a more than a point per game player. So hopefully he becomes that for you as well. Yeah, he's definitely playing better in my save. Well, definitely better in my save than he did in real life. Like, he had a couple of really good seasons in real life, but then it looks like he had a little bit of injury problem, like that season here. Played for Toronto, and like he only got 37 points. Then he kind of rebounded a little bit, and then he never became quite the same. But yeah, he's really good in my save. All right, one more day off, and then the Nordiques are in town. There was no stopping Danny Gare. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals against the Montreal Canadiens. Mike Bullard lights the lamp for Pittsburgh. He had 4 goals against the Capitals. An excellent passing lead to productive night for Mark Johnson. In that same game, he had 4 assists. Alright, Nordiques are in town. They are 24, 16, and 9. That's good for 6th in the conference. We are 1-0-1 against the Nordiques this season. We're going to play them again in not too long, too. Michel Dion is going to be in net for the Nordiques. John Garrett is going to be in net for us. And of course, go Waiters! A 4-2 victory. Thank you very much. We outshot the Nordiques 39-23. Mark Messier was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Réal Cloutier was the second star with 2 goals. And Wilf Payment was the third star with a goal. Another player that you might want to look at is Wilf Payment. You might want to see if you want to acquire him. He did play for the Nordiques in real life, albeit very briefly. So if you like to get like players that played for the team and everything, Wilf Payment is one of them. You might want to look at him. He's also pretty good. Alright, so we had 10,102 people in attendance for the game. Wilf Payment was the first one to score a goal in the second period. Nobody scored in the first from Peter Stastny and Mark Messier. Then the Nordiques tied the game. Then Darren Veitch scored from Mark Messier and Gordy Roberts. Then the Nordiques scored to tie the game. And then we took the lead again. Randy Cunneyworth from Bo Berglund and Gordy Roberts. 3-2 Hartford after 2. And then we added a goal in an empty net in the third. 2 seconds to go in the third. Anton Stastny scored from Tapio Levo and Matty Agman. And it was a 4-2 victory. Yay! Brian Propp's point streak ended at 13 games. He was held scoreless against us. No further punishment for Peter McNabb. He will not be suspended. Kent Nilsson keeps fans on their feet all night in Calgary. He had 3 goals and 2 assists against the Leafs. Red light stays on for Mike Bossy. He had 3 goals and an assist against the Kings. No one could stop Dino Ciccarelli. He had 3 goals and an assist against the Blues. Dino Ciccarelli extends his goal streak to 5 games with that performance. And Connor's suspension ends back in the lineup in St. Louis. Pete Mahovlich is on the trade block from the Red Wings. Alright, and last game of the month, we are at home against the Winnipeg Jets. Jets are not doing too hot this year. They are 12, 29, and 9. And we are 1-0 against them this season. Let's finish January on a good note. That'd be pretty good. Grant Fuhr is going to be in net. Alright, Kel, have a good shift at work, and I'll see you around. Keep me updated on the Nords, on the Nordiques. Let me know what's going on with them. Alright, Grant Fuhr in net for the Jets. John Garrett in net for the Waiters. And, of course, see ya. You take care as well. Go Waiters, go! Yeah, I put it in just in time. 6-1 victory over the Jets here. We outshot them 44-28. Dave Poulin was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 2 assists. Randy Cunnyworth was the second star with 2 assists. And Marian Stashny was the third star with 2 goals. 9,674 people in attendance for the game. Nobody scored in the first, then in the second, Marian Stashny scored from Randy Cunnyworth and Dave Poulin, and Darren Veitch scored his 15th from Wolf Payment and Dave Poulin. 2-0 Hartford here after 2. Third period, Marian Stashny scored from Rob Ramage and Darren Veitch, made it 3-0. Then the Jets scored 1 goal, and then we scored 3 more. Rick Aduano scored his 10th from Jay Wells and Brent Sutter. Tapio Levo from Randy Cunnyworth and Bo Berglund, and then finally Dave Poulin from Bo Berglund and Tapio Levo. That was a nice 6-1 victory. Real Cloutier extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had 2 goals and an assist against the Devils. Dave Taylor has a great game with the Kings. He had a hat-trick against the Blues. Lanny McDonald extends his point streak to 12 games with a goal against the Sabres. Red light stays on for Jacques Richard with the Buffalo Sabres. He had a hat-trick against the Maple Leafs. And Paul Coffey is starting to feel better. Alright, so we're done for January, but there's a few days left. January scouting, don't care. Paul Coffey back sooner rather than later, that'd be great. And then Mike Kitchen and Timo Jutila. So Buffalo traded Mike Kitchen to Toronto for Timo Jutila. And then Kitchen ends up on waivers. He's a little old and he can't really play very well. Alright, we have 1 more day off. There we go. There was no stopping John Anderson with the Maple Leafs. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals against the Minnesota North Stars. Lanny McDonald extends his point streak to 13 games with 2 assists in that same game. Top-setting Hartford jerseys for the month of January. Wolf Payment, Peter Stashny, Mark Messier, Paul Coffey, and John Garrett. Development report. That's a lot of my players that are losing. Yikes. Top-selling AHL jersey for January, Wayne Gretzky first, of course, and then Wayne Gretzky and Pelle Lindbergh are the players of the month in the NHL. Pelle Lindbergh in Boston now. Alright, we're going to go ahead and save the game, and then we're going to take a look at a couple things like we always do at the end of each stream here. Alright, so we still have Paul Coffey that's hurt. He's about to come back. That's really good news. We are second in the conference. That means that we are first in our division. And we have a little bit of separation here. We have a 3-point lead over the Buffalo Sabres. Worst team in the entire league is the LA Kings with 29 points. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and take a look at our stats. We're missing Paul Coffey's stats, but I think he played 11 games, so it's not like we're missing a whole lot. Alright, so our best player is Mark Messier, 60 points in 51 games. Peter Stashny, 58 in 50. Wolf Payment, 49 and 45. So we have a lot of point per game player, but we don't have a whole lot that are like leagues ahead. That can like challenge for tops in the league or anything like that. So Agman 47 and 51, Gordy Roberts 46 and 51, and then it kind of goes down from there. So lots of point per game players, not a whole lot of super dominant players. Although Rob Ramage is a whopping plus 41 so far this season. It's pretty good. Plus minus is not a stat that I really consider very useful, but when you see an outlier like that, that's something that grabs your attention. All right, and in the entire league, Wayne Gretzky is the best goal scorer with 46 goals. He's also the best passer with 56 assists. Wayne Gretzky already has over 100 points, and we are February 1st, so 102 points for him. Nobody from us is anywhere close to that. Oh, Rob Ramage is second in the league in plus minus with his plus 41. Glenn Anderson still leading the lead in shorties with 5 short-handed goals. Alright, I'm going to save again for good measure, but that's going to be it for me today, folks. So, as usual, I want to thank you for tuning in, and if you're catching this on YouTube later and you made it this far, you know what to do if you like the video. But that's it for ARG today, so peace out and see you folks later.